I am going to be talking about beating burnout in the new normal today. And so I actually have some visual aids for all of you. So I'm excited about that. Um, I am a mental wellness coach and a certified hypnotherapist. And I have been dealing with burnout myself, as well as helping other people treat it for many, many years now. I've been practicing for about 20 years therapeutically, and I am helping women to really tap into the power of their subconscious mind so that they can increase some peace, some joy, and some harmony in their lives and overcome any blocks to success that they might have, whether that be limiting beliefs or healing past hurts, anything that really gets in their way. Now, to tell you a little bit about my life and what it's like right now. I have been married also for almost 20 years. My husband and I have been together for 20 years this coming week, which is really exciting. And I'm a military wife. So he's retired military, but he still does all of those things, still travels. I'm also a Basset Hound mama. And I love to travel myself. That's one of my favorite things. Of course, I haven't been able to do that as much lately, but I am looking forward to being able to do that more again in the future. Now, well, I'm going to take you back those 20 years. We're going to start at the beginning because I have experienced really chronic burnout throughout my adult life. And it all started with the habits that were formed when I was younger. And when I was growing up, I was always that high achiever. I was always in a lot of activities. And when I went into college, I knew exactly what I wanted to do with my life. I was somebody who was always deeply empathic and really knew that I wanted to help people in this therapeutic journey that I have been going through these last couple decades. So I knew that that was my path and that was my purpose. And it was something that I was very, very passionate about. And so in 2001, I went into graduate school for clinical psychology. And I'd already been working with children and families, parents, and I was just literally 3 weeks out of college. I had moved. I got my first 2 degrees in 4 years in Arizona, and I packed it all in. And then I moved from there to Oregon. And I had 3 weeks in between my first 2 degrees and working on my doctorate. And I had moved to Oregon to be closer to my mom and to go to school there because she had been going through cancer since I was about 16. She's gone through it a few times. She's still here. But she had gotten a terminal diagnosis when I was in high school and had moved to Oregon to be near her doctors. And so I wanted to take care of her and go to grad school. Well, in those 3 weeks, an amazing thing happened. And the amazing thing is that I met my husband. But I was already no stranger to being so busy that I was prepared for grad school, but that just added an extra layer onto it. I was dating my husband. I also started my first business because in college I had 2 majors, 2 internships, and a job to put myself through school. And I knew I wasn't going to be able to have the time in grad school to have a job to really support myself and to pay for those 6 figures in student loans that were accruing interest every time I breathed. And so I'd started a job as a consultant, and I was now dating someone who literally was getting ready to be deployed. So about 2 weeks into us meeting right before I started school, he went down to San Diego and then went out to sea. And so I was sitting there in a long distance relationship, taking care of my mom, who was going through her own health journey. And I had grad school from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Saturday and 1,000 pages of homework a week. Now, what else happened in 2001, right? It was 9/11 happened right after I started school. So in September, of course, that happened on September 11th. And my husband was a first responder. Within hours of the planes going down, my husband was on his way to the Middle East. And we were thrown into chaos, right, in our country. And I was working at my clinic. doing therapy in grad school in downtown Portland, Oregon. And there was a lot of trauma, right? But it was one of the first times I'd ever seen people just getting traumatized over and over again, watching things happen in the media. And I don't know if you all recall, but it was for about 3 weeks that they were playing the crashes over and over and over again. That terrorist attack just kept being played. And so that was one time very similar to what we've been going through this year, where right on top of anything else that everyone was going through, there was another layer there, right? There was another layer of that stress and that trauma on top of what they were already dealing with. And so, I'm going to school all day into the evening and then all night. Because we only had email to communicate, I turned the volume all the way up and I would get a ping and I would get an email and I would wake up and I'd write my then boyfriend, soon to be husband, and I would never get sleep. So I was literally working myself day in and day out 24/7. And I tell you that because that is how I set myself up for burnout. So we're going to fast forward now to 2006. I've been married for 4 years. My husband is back and is still in the Navy, but we had moved up to the Pacific Northwest together. So we were in the same place at this point. We were in Washington State, and I was in my first job. I was working in a school as a counselor, and I was also doing some teaching, and I still had that side business. Okay, I was still working as a consultant and a coach for female entrepreneurs, and things were really good. But something started happening. I, of course, was working with children, like I mentioned, and I kept getting sick. And it was just a thing that you would blow off, right? Working with kids, they're germy, you get sick all of the time. Well, I ended up with a sinus infection that wouldn't go away. And I ended up having some really bad effects from the antibiotics and the medications that I was on. And I ended up with intestinal ulcers. And I had to go in and have a minor surgery for that. And my job was pressuring me to come back too soon because they didn't have anyone to fill my place. And so they needed me there. And I felt pressured and I went back way too early before I was able to heal. And it was just not a good combination. Between that and then my mom also having to have her own surgery again, going through another round with her cancer, meant that I needed to make a change and I was at my wit's end. And so I actually left that position. I went and took some time to take care of my mom and take care of myself. I found a great acupuncturist, went through some Chinese medicine to get my gut right after the medical doctors told me that there was literally nothing they could do for me anymore. And I was just going to have to live with the pain. And I got myself healed. And then in 2009, my husband and I decided to team up. He's also always been entrepreneurial, and he is someone who's always got an idea, right? He always wants to start something new. And so we decided to go into business together because he works in electronics and he got an electronic monitoring contract in Seattle, as you'll see there, in the county that Seattle is in, to monitor people who had drug and alcohol offenses. Well, I had the therapeutic side of that. And so he was seeing people for electronic monitoring. I was working with clients, and we were teaming up to build this incredible, amazing business that ended up being a 7-figure business. And we were working all the time. We were working together, though. We were spending time together. And again, it was another 10 hours a day, 6 days a week. We were commuting through traffic. Seattle traffic is horrible. And we were, driving an hour and a half each way sometimes, and then working these full days. And if we tried to go on a date night, I remember one time we tried to go to see a Cirque du Soleil on horses. And they kept it really warm in the tent. And he and I both were out like a light. We completely fell asleep the one time we tried to do anything together. And we couldn't go on vacation at the same time because we couldn't leave our business. And then something happened. And it was 2017. almost exactly 4 years ago. And I got in a car accident. I literally got hit by a truck, stopped on the freeway that did not even slow down. They were distracted and on the job, and that was it. And for 11 months after that, I was in 3 to 4 doctor's appointments a week, whether it be physical therapy or chiropractic or massage therapy, and not the fun kind of massage therapy, the kind that hurts. And I just couldn't work anymore. I could not maintain my business. I could not do anything except for try to heal. It was so bad where I couldn't clean my house. I couldn't carry a purse. I couldn't push a grocery cart. I couldn't do anything normal for myself. And I was just at a loss. I didn't know what to do with my life because my life had always been built around me going and going and going. And so in 2018, we made a decision. We decided that we were going to close that business and that we're going to make a lifestyle shift. And so we sold our place in the city and we decided that we were going to build a house on our vacation property. And I was going to follow my dream. I'd always said that I wanted to have my own private practice and I wanted to try to work from home. And of course, 20 years ago, that wasn't even a possibility as a therapist, especially as a female, to be able to see clients from home. But in 2019, it was because just like this, we're able to be virtual with one another. And so my business was born. It truly was. Again, as a mental wellness coach and a certified hypnotherapist, I'm able to see clients from all over the world and work from home. And in order for me to beat burnout, I needed to make some shifts in my lifestyle. I needed to make some changes in my habits, which I'm going to share with you. And I actually went to one of my colleagues and I figured out why I was still having chronic pain, even more than a year after that accident, and I was able to resolve that. And so this is me today. I'm here in my office in my brand new home in the mountains, far, far away from the stress and the hustle and bustle. And I am absolutely loving it. And I am healed. That's the amazing thing is I was able to heal even from that chronic burnout. And I want to share a little bit about that with you all today. So first, you have to know what burnout is. So burnout is physical or mental collapse, could be and or, caused by overwork or stress. And the first things that you're going to notice are things like digestive issues, sleep problems, fatigue. Maybe like me, you start getting sick easier, or you start maybe forgetting some things, or getting a little short, right? A little irritable with some of the people around you, or you just can't focus and you're not seeing the results that you once were. Again, in your personal and or in your professional life, you might have increased anxiety and you're just not passionate about the things that you once were. And if this is you, if you notice any of those signs in yourself, you aren't alone. I'm not the only person, absolutely, that has ever gone through burnout, and neither are you. Burnout rates rose to their all-time highest levels this past year in 2020. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that I was mentioning, back 20 years ago, we had a huge catastrophic event in our country. And this year, we've had catastrophic events going on with the pandemic all across the world. And so, again, those things and that stress is just on top of everything else that we were already dealing with. And so when you look at women, right, we tend to be caregivers, and some of us are really passionate about our careers. And so you're going to see here that 25%, right, 1 in 4 entrepreneurs feel moderately burned out, with highly passionate business owners being the most likely. And so many of us were working from home, whether it was from someone else or for ourselves this year. And caregiver burnout is on the rise because a lot of us are in that generation where we may have kids and aging parents. And 40% of caregivers feel the emotional signs of burnout, and 20% of them feel physically strained. But I have to say that a lot of times we're not recognizing those stages. And so I'm going to actually go through the stages with you so that you can notice and be in awareness of these stages for yourself. So the first stage, you don't even think of as burnout, to be honest. You're excited. I was loving what I was doing. I was super passionate about my career and the people that I was helping. I was committed. I was ready to do the hard work. And I had high energy and I was super productive. And then you start seeing some effects, right? So you'll start to see, again, a little stress, lack of sleep, maybe a little bickering in your relationships, or maybe you're not spending as much time with some of your friends and family as you once were because you're so busy. And your health starts to get a little bit strained. But then the frustration and fatigue start to get worse. You lose some motivation. You're not getting the results that you were seeing before. Your focus starts suffering. That anxiety starts creeping in about getting it all done because you're on all the time. And so many of my clients and women that I talk to kind of sometimes live between stage 2 and 3. That's where they function. So if that's you, it's going to be really great to make some changes. I'm going to share a little bit about how you can do that today. Or if you are further on and you're in that conflict stage where I got, to, and I found myself in a couple times in my life where your body is literally fighting against you. It can't heal properly. Your immune system is down, which of course is not what we want right now. You're having those digestive issues, and maybe you're not noticing that it has something to do with the pace and how you are prioritizing your time and how you're taking care of or not taking care of yourself. You're thinking, oh, it's just the kids were sick, something's going around. It's nothing, right? You're in denial about that. And when you get to that crash like I did, you're going to get to that total physical and mental exhaustion. And you start losing the passion that you once had for everything that you loved. And you're not motivated anymore. You just don't have the energy. And that chronic burnout is when it starts happening over and over again. And you might be like me, and hopefully not, where you may lose a business, or you may lose a job, or you may have issues with your relationships. You want to really avoid that overwhelm. So, what's next is to change the bad habits and create some good habits. That's what I really had to do. I needed to stop constantly hustling and always being on. Stop working long hours without breaks. Stop putting way too much on my plate and not setting good boundaries around my time and protecting my energy and my well being. So the best time, of course, is to beat burnout before it begins and to put some of these habits into place early. But the next best time is right now to develop those habits so that you can have the renewed energy, so that you can have fulfillment in your personal and professional life. And so you can really sustain your health. So you need to build some coping strategies into your daily routine like I did. I'm going to share how to do it. So you need to practice some self-care. That's the first and foremost thing. You need to really learn how to stop the balancing act. I hate it when people say your work-life balance. It's like nails on a chalkboard for me, because when I think balance, I think having to be on this exact scale and having to work really, really hard to keep everything perfectly in line all the time. And that's what got me into trouble with the burnout. And so I believe in creating harmony in all areas of your life where everything can flow together. And sometimes the focus is on your personal life, sometimes it's on your professional life, but it's all working together harmoniously, meaning it's what works for you and what brings you that peace and that joy. I want to reduce some anxiety, stress, and overwhelm so you don't get into that chronic burnout stage, and increase your confidence and your self-esteem is key. That's a key part of self-care that we don't think about. Self-care isn't just about bubble baths. It's about taking good care of yourself and feeling good about yourself and having that good relationship with your body and really being an awareness of your mental and physical health. And you are probably like me. You're probably taking care of everybody. As a woman, we're always playing so many different roles in our lives, and we're kind of running everything, right? We're running everyone's lives. Well, guess what? You can actually make a bigger difference in the world around you. You can affect more positive change when you can show up as your best self when you take care of yourself. So I'm going to go through 5 ways that you can do that and really truly create that work-life harmony. So the very first one here is going to be giving yourself grace. I want you to be really aware of those warning signs of burnout and pay attention to your mental and physical health. I want you to also remember that we're on a journey, right? There's not a destination here. There is no such thing as perfection. You want to focus on the progress that you're making and always learning and growing and improving from everything that you go through, because I had to learn some really hard lessons from my burnout, and you don't have to learn them that hard. You really can learn from what you're going through now. And when you do and you grow and you improve, you won't be doomed to repeat those mistakes and go through burnout over and over again. The next is practicing mindfulness. And you're in luck today because I am actually giving you my guide to mastering mindfulness. This is something that I had to incorporate into my life every single day to help me to be aware, to do a little self-check, to make sure that I was taking good care of myself and to stay in the present moment, to not stress and not have the anxiety quite so much all the time. Need to also create boundaries. I like to list the top 10 people that you are spending the most time with. And it doesn't have to be people. It could be a podcast you're listening to. It could be a channel that you follow. It could be a media outlet that you spend a lot of time in. So virtual or in person, where are you spending your time? And then you want to put a plus sign next to the ones that make you feel better about yourself, your situation, and the world around you. A minus sign next to the ones that make you feel worse, again, about yourself, your situation, or the world, and an equal next to the ones that it doesn't really change. And really think about this. Focus your time on the ones with the positive signs right next to them. And make sure that you're setting clear boundaries and limiting interactions with the negative ones. Now, that doesn't mean that you need to cut out everything on that list, right? You might have some family members on that list. I know I have in the past. And you don't have to cut them out of your life, but really be aware and be intentional about the time that you spend with them and maybe the topics that you are having the conversations around, or when you are expending that energy, making sure that you bookend that with refilling and recharging your energy, which takes me into guarding it, right? You really need to build breaks into your schedule. That is one thing that I implemented that was really key for me. Giving myself ample time. I always used to be rushing from thing to thing and from place to place and getting there right on time and being right on top of it, but it was stressful. And of course, before I was in traffic. And so, not giving yourself enough time to get ready and to recharge in between appointments is really detrimental to your health. And for me, I'm working with people and really holding that space for them emotionally and being there for them through the hard things they're going through. And as somebody who is really highly empathic, I have to make sure that I build in breaks around it. I have plenty of time in between and before and after those appointments so that I can rest and recharge. I can hydrate. I can have a snack. I can use the restroom. I can take a walk outside if I feel like I need to get some fresh air and feel really grounded. Whatever it is that you need to do during those breaks, take care of yourself. So that way you do have the time to deal with the little emergencies and the fires that need to be put out. You do have the time to return those calls if something comes up. You're not stressed and rushed, and you can have that strength and stamina to take care of other people and give them your best. It's not about just pouring your cup out over and over and over again and giving all your energy to other people. It's about filling your cup up so much that you're actually giving other people the overflow. The cup is for you. I also needed to prioritize my values. And this is something that you can absolutely do. Really looking at what is most important to you in your life, what really matters, and making decisions on what is best for you in terms of that is really going to help you to prioritize your time more wisely. Because when you really know what you want in your life, you can be intentional about those specific daily activities that you want to do that are going to get you closer to becoming who you want to be, to having the life that you want, and ultimately into fulfilling your purpose. But so many times we're so busy being busy that we're actually missing the point. We're not doing the things that are really important to us. We're doing everything else just to check off the to-do list. And then those things come last and we don't have the energy for them. Or again, the people who are most important to us. If your family is most important to you, but your kids are saying, you know what, you work all the time, you're on the computer all the time, that's a sign you need to make some changes. So tap into your inner wisdom every single day to see how you're doing and search within yourself for those answers. Rest and recharge. Give yourself those power hours, whether it's 15 minutes or 30 minutes or the full hour, to do anything you just want to do and that helps you relax. And make sure that you're always practicing gratitude every day as well, because developing that habit of being mindful and appreciative of all the good things in your life instead of focusing on the negatives literally will change your brain and will help you to focus on those things that are going to bring you that peace and that joy and that harmony. You can avoid burnout and you can heal from it if you're already there like I was. The average person literally has more stress and more information, right, coming into their brain in a month than our grandparents or great grandparents would have had in their entire lifetime. Isn't that amazing? So you need to learn how to just turn things off and just focus on one task at a time. That's something I had to learn really as a hard lesson because we are ingrained as women to multitask. And multitasking is not the answer. It's actually the opposite. We need to really just focus on one thing at a time, give it our attention so we're not stressing ourselves and burning ourselves out. You really do matter. So you need to prioritize yourself and put yourself first. The last thing that I would really implore you to do is to get the support you need. It took a village for me to come out of burnout. You know, I saw that colleague and did some of those hypnotherapy sessions to be able to pinpoint exactly what lessons I needed to learn and how I needed to shift my life. I had my medical team. I had people surrounding me, friends and family that were supportive in helping me get through this. And so reach out for support in order to get that clarity, in order to create a plan, to take action so that you can create that life that you deserve and you can beat burnout. That work-life harmony is not a pipe dream. It really is attainable and you can do it too. So here's all of my information. Again, I'm giving you today my guide to mastering mindfulness so that you can start incorporating some of these techniques and strategies into your own life. So go to my website at guide.psychedupsuccess.com to go ahead and download that guide for free. You can also visit my website or send me a message. I would love to have a conversation with you. I would love to be able to speak to you if you want some support in figuring out how to do it, because I know that when you are so busy and you have so many things on your plate, it's really hard to see clearly for yourself how you can get out of that and still get all the things done and do everything for the people that you love and have the career that you want to have. And so I am available to you if you would like to contact me, again, through my website, send me an email or go on social media. I would love to connect with you and help you through this process so that you can beat burnout in this crazy new normal that we are finding ourselves in. So thank you all so much for joining me today. I appreciate each and every one of you for making yourself and your growth a true priority. Remember to enjoy the journey, give yourself grace always, and focus on that progress over perfection. Take care, everyone. Thanks again.